Alright, we're making vegetable prints in addition to using our stencils, and so we had some old celery just sitting around the house. My wife was not liking how gross it was getting. I guess it's starting to rot or something, so I thought, well, you know, might as well show this too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut several lengths that are about the same. That way I can make a stamp out of these things. So this is kind of a time-honored tradition. I can remember doing this when I was a young student. Of course, we weren't really able to use knives and things like that, so every time I've taught this, I've either had student aides cut these things up for the kids, or I'll cut them in advance. I've had a lot of summer workshop success with vegetable prints. I actually discovered when I taught that summer class, I'm going to try one where these kind of go opposite one another, and then we'll see what type of a print that makes. I want to try to make it to where they're about the same level so that I press them down. I'm just going to wrap tape around there. But I actually discovered when I did my last summer workshop for children that cabbage makes a really awesome print. You just chop it in half the cross-cut way, ink that up, and it looks really beautiful. It kind of creates its own pattern on there, so I'm going to wrap this up pretty well. And I'm feeling like that might not be very level, so I'm just going to cut down just a little bit more so it's a good looking little stamp, so I can work with that. See, I might try doing a diagonal one as well, just so I can think about what this surface is going to look like if I print it. And then I've got two, so I can work with that. This carrot I thought was pretty interesting because we had a really big one, so I thought, you know, what would it look like if I tried to use this broken end? So I'm going to do something kind of similar to that. Let's see, maybe what I'll do is I'll use that broken edge to cut this in half. Let's kind of make something interesting here that I can work with. Again, this whole food idea, I don't know what it is, but kids seem to really enjoy the idea that you can make art out of weird things. A lot of kids don't like vegetables either, so maybe this would be a good way to get your kids to actually care about vegetables. Of course, I wouldn't eat them after you've used them to print with, though. I'm going to lay those down kind of like that. I'm going to try to tape these together really, really well. Of course, if I were doing this with just a single carrot, I'd be fine. I wouldn't have to tape them together. But that's just not a very interesting pattern or design. It's just going to be like a circle. So I'm trying some things that make kind of interesting, different impressions. And I want to make sure that that'll all be level. And so if I'm worried, I can just trim it all really flat. Maybe make a stew after this, I don't know. Apples are really cool. They look awesome. But the classic is the potato. So this is actually a lot like a woodcut or a wood block, or maybe a linoleum block print. Maybe you've done something like that before. Basically, when you cut it in half, then you can carve patterns and designs into this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut like it's kind of a hatching pattern. And the whole idea is what you remove from the potato, it won't print. The spots that you leave on the potato will print. So I'm just kind of cutting these into wedges. And the idea is that I want kind of a zigzag pattern on here. Of course, I could do whatever I want to them. So it's just going to make it kind of interesting. I've done this also with kitchen sponges, things like that. You can cut those into unique shapes, and kids can dip those in paint and print with those. So do this with just about anything that has some kind of a surface that can hold some ink. See, on this one I think I'm going to try something more interesting, like I'll do like a smiley face. Try to anyway with my X-Acto knife. Doesn't work, I'll just slice it off and try again. Oh, it doesn't want to come out of there very cleanly. So I just try to cut it like an angle and meet in the middle somewhere inside of that potato. Always gonna have kind of a messy mouth. Well, we'll see what happens here. Wouldn't try this with an onion. I mean, I suppose you could. The rings could be really cool, but it would really, really stink up your classroom. Looking around to see if I have a drill bit. Looks like I don't, but drill bits would be perfect to make these little eyes. So I'm just gonna put my X-Acto knife in there and drill a little hole. Oops, that's gonna be a big eye. Oh, that's gonna be a really big eye. It's gonna look wacky. Oh well, we'll give it a shot. Cool. I think I'll try something with this too. Make it really long. And then maybe try something like that. Maybe I'll come out from here. Another cool thing to do when the leaves are in bloom is to find a good big leaf with some sturdy veins in it. You can make really beautiful prints with those. Kind of doing a pattern here. Of course, you can make anything you want. Please don't think that you have to make exactly what I'm demonstrating. I want you to just to try out making some different designs and patterns with these vegetables and stencils. Okay. So I've got my wonky, yeah, my really wonky smiley face. And I'll try this leaf pattern, this one here, try some carrots. See what happens with that little guy. All right, cool. Have to give that one a shot. I think I might try something a little different on this one. Just trying to give myself different textures to work with. I'm trying not to cut all the way down. I just want it to meet in the middle somewhere so I can pop that little wedge out. Done this with green peppers too. Just find the stuff that's on sale in the supermarket. That's the best way to go about it. Be careful. Sometimes I cut very dangerously. Just trying to hold that so I don't break it. I'm gonna kind of crosshatch here. See if I get kind of a cool texture to happen out of there. So you want to try some other cool vegetables, go for it, fruits, whatever. Again, I've seen people do the oranges, whatever. Give it a shot, it's kind of fun. And then use the leftovers to make like a super salad, right? All right, cool. Now I've got those and I'm ready to start printing.